It's 10 years since Nirbhaya, and you're the officer who was given the task of cracking the case. I want to start by asking you what you remember of that day. When do you get that first call?
I received a call around 2:10
at night.
At night, when my maid woke me up. It was my operator who had woken me up, and because of that, I was able to reach pretty much early. So by about 2:35, I was at Safdarjung hospital.
You managed to crack the case in 18 hours.
Yes, because you see, once I was woken up, I was there. The point is that when you met by the time I met there, Nirbhaya had already been taken to the minor OT, so I couldn't meet her, but I had a word with her doctor, so I could understand the gravity of the offence. Also, after speaking to her friend, I was able to understand that it is a blind case. They don't know the offenders. Usually rapes also happen with people whom you are known to. So this was a totally blind case. So it was going to be a search for a needle in the haystack kind of a thing, and it had to be fast. And what I got from the conversation, that short conversation with the boy, was that it is the entire event, the scene of crime was a bus. So you had to look for a bus, and looking for a bus in Delhi can be as humongous a task as it can be. So the only clue that he could give us at that point of time was that it was a white-colored bus with a strip on it. He didn't even remember whether it was blue or green. Green suggested it would have been a CNG one. Blue would have been a diesel one. But he just said that it was a white-colored contract carriage with yellow curtains and red seat covers. This was the only clue that we had at that point of time. And that what we understood of the crime was that these men, maybe 5 or 6 in number, they were not being exact, but had some connection. One of them had some connection with the bus. So he could have been a driver, he could have been a person who had just taken it from a friend. So there had to be some connection. So there was a call made out, a general call in the night. All the night GOs were told that they were supposed to be alert, look out for a white-colored contract carriage bus. So this was one of the first messages, and then we collected all our teams. South District had developed into a where we could, whether it was one police station which had a case, but other teams also started to contribute. At that point of time, just after Commonwealth, there were a lot of CCTVs put on in front of hotels, in front of on a lot of streets, a lot of corners and major points. So having understood broadly a route, we told our teams to start looking for CCTV cameras describing the movement of one such bus.
How did you catch them? Where did you manage to catch them?
See, it was by the morning, early morning, we had understood that let's start from somewhere. So Delhi was the best bet. So we sent one officer to the RTO, and we got a list of only the white-colored contract carriage buses. So there were about 370 number. So by 9:30, we had a list of 370 contract carriage buses in a pen drive, which we segregated into an Excel sheet, distributed it among teams, and told them, please, these are the buses you need to look for. So it had the names of registration numbers, it had the name of the owners, it has the name of the residents, everything. So we started picking up the owners. The boy by that time had recovered a little more and had come out with trauma. So what happens is, when victims, when you talk to them initially, they can't tell you much. But over a period of time, they start remembering other things. So he told us, I remember that the back door was locked. And they dragged us behind. They couldn't throw us from the behind door, and they tried to unscrew the door, but couldn't get unscrewed. So we understood that the back door was screwed, which means it was probably being used by a school also. So there were a lot of things. Then we tried to find out. We got a person who modifies buses. We got him, and we asked him. There were only 2 in Delhi. So we asked them how is it possible that a bus behind the back door doesn't open? So he said that there were a lot of blue lines which had got laid off because of the accidents and all, and the new buses had to come for the Commonwealth, the green and the red buses which you see now. So because of that, all those blue line buses, the chases remained the same. They got modified into contract carriages, which are now being used as contract carriages, which were being used for MNCs, for dropping their staff up and down, and for school children also. So this is how we kind of narrowed in on a lot of things, and then we came across one CCTV footage by a sheer queer fate of luck, that we found this CCTV footage which covered the bus. Usually it will cover the porch of a restaurant, but I think because of a freak incident, the camera was facing the road, and we covered this one bus going twice. And when we showed it to the boy, he said maybe this could be the bus, and it matched the timing of the incident. So all this, it was an 18-hour of exercise, culmination of CCTVs, culmination of what our beat guys worked for, culmination of, those lists, checking out the list of owners, and, understanding how buses move in Delhi and how, because getting the bus was important for us. So by around 3 o'clock, we got an input that there was a bus which was standing, at a particular point and resembled this thing. So our team went and found that there was only Ram Singh, and he was there in the bus. So he tried to run, we caught him. This was around 3:34. We had the bus. We showed it to the victim, and he almost shivered. He said, "Yeah, this is the bus." So instead of bringing it to the police station, we took it to a stadium, which is the Tyagaraja Stadium. We requested the administrator that there was an empty parking lot and it had a coverage, because all the media persons were jumping onto the buses which were being brought. And then they would have damaged all the evidence. So we said, if this is the bus, then it goes into a place where it can be secured. So then we called the CFSL, and we started working with the CFSL and trying to get scientific evidence from the bus, because that was a scene of crime.
True. Did you manage to speak to Nirbhaya before her death, and what did she tell you?
Yeah, I spoke to her, not particularly in the night, but the next day when she was after her first minor operation, I spoke with her. And one thing was very startling was that she was, in spite of all the injury that she had, and which was it was very grievous, was that she was still very, she really wanted to live, and she wanted to, look forward towards life. So she told me, "Ma'am, I'm very happy that you're on this case, and I have seen you on TV." And she was telling me, "Please don't leave those guys. I'm so happy that such a senior officer looking at my case usually." And she was, really chatty and nice person. And she really wanted, I said, "You will have to help us identify those people." She said, "Yeah, whatever help I can do, I will do." In fact, the statement she gave to the doctor when she had not met us, initially when she was brought into the gynae receiving room, was a perfect statement, because she has given them a lot of information. Later on, we made a SDM record her statement. She has given a lot of inputs which were very vital. And then they all, later when she died, it became dying declarations, which helped clinch the case for us. Because these were statements given by a girl in front of a SDM, in front of a doctor, in front of a judicial magistrate, and clear, cogent, she wanted to kind of, participate. Usually I've seen victims, they clam up. They don't want to talk. After talking for 2 minutes, they will just shut down. She wanted to share information. This part, I think, was something that, defines that, how when she was named Nirbhaya, or her original name, she wanted that,
She was Nirbhaya.
She was Nirbhaya, actually, and she really wanted to make sure that, whatever happens to her, but she wanted the criminals to get caught. It's very important.
Did you at that point realize how big this case would become? And are you a little disappointed that after what we called a watershed moment in terms of laws being changed, becoming stricter, more nuanced, the crime numbers against women are not going down?
See, I always say this, this is asking a two-part question. First part was like how this case would become so big, I didn't realize initially. Every case we would have worked like this, but only, after all the 4-5 people had, been caught, and the 2 were still remaining, I still realized that, maybe it will snowball into something very big, but not initially, not the first 3-4 days. But yeah, by the end of the 5th day, when we were still looking for Akshay Thakur and we were about to catch him, and by the last day, 6th day, when we had caught the juvenile, there was understanding that maybe this is going to snowball into something.
10 years later, when you look back, what is that one moment that defines the whole Nirbhaya case for you? Just that one moment or one thing.
You're talking about the incident in 2012 or the post incident?
Yeah.
I think the biggest moment was that when we caught the last guy, because that was for me a part closure. The second most important incident was when they gave the death sentence at the Sessions Court. However, the journey didn't finish there. finally, when the Supreme Court said it was meticulous investigation and gave a verdict which was, maybe everybody was waiting for it, but as legal experts told me, and I also knew, we were, on a thin line. But when the court declared it that they are agreeing with the death sentence given by the High Court and the Sessions Court, that was a real victory, and that I felt like I could look back into the eyes of Nirbhaya's parents and say, see, I delivered.
Chhaya Sharma, we leave it there. Thank you very much for speaking to us and recounting how the case was cracked in 18 hours and what was that moment of closure for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.